Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the head coach of Livonia Franklin boys basketball, TJ Hurley. Welcome back. How's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. How have things been with you?
Things have been good. So let's talk about the start that you guys have had to the season. It's been a pretty good start for you guys. Of course, you've won all the games, but what overall has been really working with you guys?
The major thing early on is, especially with this way the season's shortened with more games, is it all comes down to early season chemistry. We just had a really great group of guys who work really well together. You see it when they're together off the court, gelling, getting along, and on the court, the way the ball moves, the way we're kind of interlocked defensively. We have our lapses at times, just like everybody, but that's really lended itself to our team being successful early on.
You look at some of the team, and you've played some good teams, like pretty good Plymouth Christian team. Of course you played Northville early on in the year. Just talk about just some of the games and what's really clicking for you guys.
I think one of the things that's really clicking for us, and when you look at our scoring breakdown, different games have different players really stepping up doing things. So you got guys who are specialists. People would say Mitch Cronin's a shooter. You can do a lot of other things though, but he's had some games where he's gotten really hot. And then we had games where Mitch didn't hit as much, and Eric was in foul trouble. Robbie Wynn stepped up, was buried three threes, scored over 20 points. But realistically, it's having five guys on the floor at all times that we're really confident in at both ends. So you look at games against all these different teams where they have different leading scorers, different leading assist guys. So the ball is changing hands left and right, but guys are making good decisions. We played some good talent. We got to play against Jordan Scott and Nate Pearson over at Plymouth Christian, both talented guys. We just played Northville. They have Carlos Adamson, who's a really good junior. So we've gotten to face different talent, see what that's kind of like. And our guys have stepped up to the occasion as the season's gone. We still got a lot of good games to go, so we got a lot of improvement to do. But so far, we've stayed together as a team, and kind of everyone's taken turns pitching in what they needed to.
Robbie Wynn's a name that I think a lot of people are kind of starting to learn about. What has it been like to see him have some success this year?
It's been pretty awesome. He missed a lot of time leading up into the season with an injury. So his first game was our third game of the season. We thought we were going to lose him for half the season at least. So it's been awesome to have him. But he really has made strides in the summer and fall, going to some of his AU games and watching. He's an excellent player for his Playmakers team, which is a highly talented AU team.
Yeah.
In the fall, he had really started to step up and developed scoring from a lot of different ways, whether it was off the bounce. He can shoot from the mid range. He can shoot from the outside. So he was really finding himself as a leader, a guy controlling the game, not just scoring, doing a little bit of everything. And so he's coming in, finding different roles, playing different positions on the offensive end, whether he's on the ball, off the ball. And then defensively, he's a bulldog. He'll get random steals here and there on the ball. He's extremely intelligent off the ball. So, I mean, he does a lot of things that I think people don't notice. And one little thing he does really well is he rebounds extremely well for his size. So he contributes in a lot of different ways at all times.
Yeah. So, and also you talk about Mitch Cronin for a little bit. What has, and obviously we all know what he possibly could do this year, and he's exceeding expectations. So, what's it been like to see him have the success that he has had this year?
It's been great. I mean, obviously, selfishly, it's just great because it makes my life really easy to see a guy play like that. But it's been really awesome. I got to coach his older brother back in the day. Great family. So I kind of saw him growing up, and seeing him come into his own, something that we knew would happen, is really cool to see. So he's put in a ton of work the last, 4 to 6 years trying to be the player he is today. He's really growing into his own on both ends of the floor. And I think he's starting to piece things together intellectually on both ends that are making life easy for him. Just little things like his movement without the ball, being ready to shoot, defensively being in the correct spot a little bit sooner, getting more deflections. He's really starting to come around. The game's just starting to move slower for him.
You and we were talking before we started recording that this team is just you've got yourself a pretty good group with this. Overall, the overall team chemistry is really good right now.
Yeah, it is. These guys, they just get along in general. They spend a lot of time together, kind of forced to. But we've done some cool activities. The team's gone to a Michigan State basketball game. We watched them beat Brown. We actually were just at the Pistons game last night. We watched the Pistons collapse against the Clippers. Uh, but seeing everyone hang out with each other, like they actually get along. They're not just there playing basketball with each other. They're actual friends, and all of them are likable people. So it's a really easy thing to do. But if you spend a lot of time around that team, it's a fun atmosphere. It's an atmosphere of good kids hanging out with each other, getting along. So it's a really cool thing to experience. But that chemistry goes a long, long way, especially with this shortened season where you know we've only had 17 practices, I think, so far. Usually by this point we're at 30. So it's been really important that we get along so that we can gel on the floor without the practice time.
For sure. And of course, the games start back up tomorrow. It is. I'm not sure how long it's been since you last played, because of obviously with Christmas and all that. But overall, you guys play tomorrow against Harbor Springs. But how excited are you to get back out there and knowing that also next week conference play begins on Friday?
Yeah, it's real exciting. We haven't played in a week now, so it'll be 8 days tomorrow. With that break, it's always a little nerve wracking with the break. Who's going to come back, who's going to be a little bit lazy afterwards, that kind of thing. But so we've been in the gym. It's been working out well, and it's one of those things where we got to try to keep this momentum going into that conference play because play Harbor Springs tomorrow, huge game, kind of close out that first part of the season, and then next week we play Loyola and Stevenson, two excellent teams, where we're really going to have to bring it both games and we're a little shorthanded with people leaving on the holidays, some injuries, so it'll be really tough for us. But you know, regardless if we're missing guys or not, we really like the squad we got in our locker room. So somebody will step up. I'm not sure who, but I just trust that somebody's going to step up every time we need it.
Yeah, you talk about the 8 days in between, and obviously with the holidays and stuff. And the thing is, people go other places. They eat a lot of food. They may not keep up with all that. But what's been the biggest thing that you've kind of talked to the guys about to kind of stay in shape throughout the holidays? Because it's a challenge because you're going to have to deal with it again with New Year's.
The big thing that I've talked about, and it's a little less about the break and a little more just in general, is just complacency. We can't get complacent with where we're at. We can't. We have to stay humble, or we're going to be humbled. Being 5-0 really isn't worth that much. Um, Nobody's won a district championship in December. So the major thing that we got going right here is we have to make sure that we stay humble, stay a little bit paranoid, stay kind of eager to get better. Because 5-0 is a great start. It's awesome. It's really good experience for these guys. But if you're, 10-7, what did it matter? So just staying locked in, staying knowing that other teams are improving. We got to keep going at it, keep every day getting a little bit better, learning a little bit more.
All right. Well, TJ Hurley, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck tomorrow.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.